Welcome back to another Pokemon Market Monday, home of the OG weekly market updates, where every Monday morning we go through last week's sales of sealed Pokemon products and Pokemon cards that are currently going up in price. And we do also cover any big Pokemon news, like cards just set to get revealed. And we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is ARIZONATCG. If you guys have some graded cards you're looking to sell, but you don't want to deal with a bunch of people lowballing you, or you having to compete with thousands and thousands of other sellers, then ARIZONATCG is perfect. These guys are going to take all your graded cards, they're going to take professional scans, then they're going to post it to their massive weekly eBay auctions, or you can change it to buy it now. You do have full control. And they just recently did a holiday promotion where it was half off for you guys to submit to them for your first time, and it went over so well that they lowered their prices to almost match that at all times. So these guys are some of the cheapest in the game. And as you can see, they got grails here. Umbreon, VMAX, PSA 10. We got a first edition Lugia in a 10 from a Mew graded company. Haven't heard of that. But yeah, you can send them anything. So definitely check them out. I'll have all the links in the description. Then, of course, if you're going to grade through PSA for your first time, you can click my link in the description. Use the code BEARD25 and you'll get $25 off your very first submission, which is basically a free graded card. And then, of course, the binder bound hoodie and t-shirt are almost sold out. All right, jumping into celebrations. So we got a little bit of movement on the Pokemon Center ETB. This did get down to about $330. Now last sold $351, $350, $359. So we got three of them at $358. And then the regular ETB is still technically going down in price. The UPC is finally starting to level out. Now last sold $850, $825, $818. So that is good to see. Then we got a couple other collection boxes that are still doing work for celebrations, and they just revealed the 30th anniversary. So this might be one of your last chances to pick up some of these celebrations boxes for somewhat of a decent deal. Here is the Sylveon and Charizard box. Last time we checked it was like $125. Now last sold $150, $157, $158, $160. We'll check one more here. Let's see here. Dragapult Prime, $58. We'll check the Dark Sylveon box. Last sold for this one, $102, $105. One low sale at $85, but most of them are over $100 now. Next, we have Evolving Skies. We really don't have anything going up in price yet for Evolving. And then we have Crown Zenith. Check this regular ETB. Market price $217. Last sold $225, $229, $209. One low sale $195. And one high sale with a picture at $250. People will pay a premium if they know it's just super, super minty. Especially, you know, if you're a lot of people who buy a lot of sealed products on TCG Player, you'll notice a lot of times they do show up with like a ding here or there. So that does definitely suck. And that's about it for celebrations. Then we got a little bit of action for the mini tin display. I feel like a lot of people forget about these. But the cheapest to get it shipped now is $350. Last sold $300, $310, $280 before that. All the sales were in the $200s really before that. But yeah, $350 to get it shipped now. That's kind of expensive. Next, we have $151, the booster bundle. Finally back over $100. Nice little line going up. Last sold for this, $105, $100, $100, $95, $102. So it got down to like $90, so not up a ton. And we'll check the 151 UPC. That's bouncing back, got down to about $565. Now last sold $600, $590. And got to check the Pokemon Center ETB. Not a ton of sales for this one, so still going down in price. Last sold $850 and $860, then $815. So I guess the last two sales are up a little bit. And I know the regular ETB is bouncing back still. Got down to $350. Now last sold $388, $385, $397, $399. So 151 is doing pretty good. We got Blooming Waters also. Got down to like $170, and now last sold $165, $185, $180, $190. Let's see what we can get it shipped for. That's from a new seller for $165 plus the $15 in shipping. So yeah, $180 for Blooming Waters now. Next, we have Prismatic Evolutions. We got a little bit of movement. The regular ETB going up, got down to $112. This thing just goes up and down, literally every other month. Now last sold $125 to about $130. We got one high sale at $149. And then we got to check the Pokemon Center ETB. That's bouncing back just a tiny bit. got down to $312. Now last sold $350, $325, $315, $322. And the SPC is still technically going down, market price $235. The Prismatic Evolutions premium figure is up like $1 or $2. Now last sold $127. And that's about it for Prismatic. And then we have Destined Rivals up a couple dollars also. Booster box is now back over $400. And the Destined Rivals ETB market price is now $135. And the Pokemon Center ETB is even bouncing back a little bit. Got down about $295. Now last sold $330, $295, $329, $295, $300, $315, $305. And we can get it shipped right now from a pretty good seller for about $300. All right, let's get into it. So we got the Paldea Evolved booster box, got down to $350. Now last sold $410, $408, $395. Next, we have the Journey Together Enhanced booster box, got down to $225. Now last sold $235, $250, $237. All right, next we have the Mega Evolution regular booster box, got down to about $235. Now last sold $260, $252, $251. Another one at $260, couple even at $270. Next, we have the Stellar Crown booster box. This was at $285, went down to about $240, and now last sold $275, $260, $261. Next, we have the Chilling Reign booster box, got down to $411. Now last sold $560, $577, $534, and literally a week ago, this thing was selling for $499 all day long. So that went up a decent amount this week. Next, we have Brilliant Stars. A lot of Sword and Shield stuff did. So Brilliant Stars was down to about $417. Now last sold $590, $550, $504. Another one at $599, another one at $590, a couple more at $580. So that is also going up. Next, Lost Origin. Got down to about $650. Now last sold $750, $759, $770, $700. Oh, and I almost forgot to do the question of the day, and I was so excited to do this one. I wish I would have did it in the beginning. But if you guys were to come up with your own set, like give it an actual name and give it a theme, what would it be? And also maybe give me like your top 3 Pokemon that you just gotta have in that set. Very excited to read this one. And then also, if you guys could do me a massive favor and go and watch my newest vetting video, I would really, really appreciate that. It would mean a ton. Next, we have the Shining Fates regular ETB, got down to $94. It was at $103 before, but now last sold $103, $111, $109. 4 of them at $112. Next, we have the Lost Origin ETB. This was at $151. Went down to $130. Now last sold $142, $147, $145, $139. Next, we have the Hidden Fates ETB. This got up to $422, then dropped down to $376. Now last sold $425, $435, $410. Next, Champion's Path is even going up in price. So it was at about $149. Now last sold $170, $160, and $168. Next, the Charizard UPC was at $431, dropped down to $380. And now last sold $395, $399, $400, $410. So climbing right back up. Next, we have the Lost Origin Booster Bundle. You got to think, booster bundles are new products. I mean, we got them towards the end of the Sword and Shield era. So you got to think 10, 20, 30 years from now, you could have one of the very first booster bundles ever printed in Pokemon history. People always forget about that, but that stuff usually does have a premium. It just takes a very, very long time to get that premium and for people to kind of realize, like the first ever Elite Trainer boxes and stuff like that. So I love getting this stuff. Yeah, this was at about $115, $120. Now that sold $129, $135. Next, we have the Squirtle illustration from Stellar Crown. This got up to $88 and then dropped down about $65 and now bouncing back a little bit. Last sold $74, $75, $70, $71, $72. Next, we have the Pikachu from 151. Was at $33 it dropped down to. Now last sold $44, $42, $47, $54. I really think this card deserves it. This is the best illustration around the set. Next, we have the Pikachu Black Star promo. Love this one. This got down to $10. Now last sold 14, 14, 15, 17. I just like Pikachu, dead center, with a few other super cute Pokemon in the background. Usually a banger of a card. Next, we have the Ends Reshiram Journey Together stamp promo. This was at, $25, got down to about 16, and now starting to climb up again. Last sold 17, 18. Next, we have the Charizard VMAX Sword and Shield promo. Was at 40, dropped down to 30, and now last sold 44, 45, 39, 48. And the V and V-Star are also coming up, but not as much as the VMAX because the VMAX dropped a ton. So here's the V, was at 39, dropped down to 25. Now last sold 33, one low sale at 24, and then 32, 27, 29. And then here's the V-Star. This was at 60, dropped down to 45, and now pretty much right back to 60. Now last sold 58, 50, 59, 61, 55. Couple low ones at 49. Next, we have the Bubble Mew EX. So, not really coming up in price, but it is leveling out. The chart says $480. Now last sold though $525 with a good picture. Others we got $499, $474, $502, $480, $489, $490. So it's the first time we've had a couple higher sales than what is actually showing on the graph. So I have a feeling it's going to start slowing down a ton now. It could possibly go back up in price because also the Mega Charizard X is going back up in price. So this was at $600 in the beginning of December, got down to $393 for about a day, and now last sold $518, $500, $475. Pretty much every single sale now is over $500, which is just crazy. Let's see what we can get this card shipped for. Right now from a brand new seller, $520. From a legit seller, about $525 for this Mega Charizard. So holding some value, even though it is pretty easy to pull. I actually argued with a ton of people saying this exact thing would happen with this card, but they're like, no, it's such a small set. It's the only good card in the set. It's going to be super, super cheap. It's going to be a $200 card. But it's such a popular card that this market's not going to allow it to get down to $200, especially not this quick. Next, the Starmie V is just bouncing back a little bit. Was at about 97, dropped down to 90, and now all last sold is right around 100 now, with one high sale at $110. Next, we have the Pikachu Trainer Gallery card. So a bunch of these cards are starting to bounce back a little bit. I'm talking just a couple dollars. The Snorlax Trainer Gallery also is up a couple dollars, but this is at about 30, dropped down about 19. Now last sold 21, 24, 26, 30, 25. And then here's the Gengar doing the same thing. The Gengar was at $40, dropped down to 29, literally the same price. Now that's sold 31, 33. So I got 4 of them at 42, 5 of them at 41, 7 of them at 44. So just bouncing back a little bit. Next, we got some celebrations cards. Like I said, the 30th anniversary is coming very, very soon. The Zekrom was at 17, dropped down to 11, and now back up to about $15. I think we did have a couple higher sales at 17 and 18. Yeah, we got one at 20 even. Next, we got the White Reshiram. Basically the same thing, almost the same price, just a little bit cheaper. Last sold for near mint, 13, 17, 15. Next, we have the Blastoise. Venusaur's up like $1 or $2 at like $10, $11. But it got down to $9. Now last sold 19, 14, 13, 12, 15. Next, we have the Shining Magikarp. This is at $35, got down about 22, 23, just bouncing back a little bit. Now last sold 28, 22, 25, 21, 35. And people ask sometimes, like, why even put it in there if it's just bouncing back a little bit? Sometimes that's the most important time to know because, you want to get it before it goes crazy. You want to get it before it hits $35 or $40 or now $50 because I genuinely feel like a lot of these cards are going to go crazy here with the 30th. Coming very, very soon. Next, we have the Birthday Pikachu. Got up to $32. Dropped down to 21. Now last sold 30, 29. We got one PSA 10 sale here for $140. Otherwise, the rest are all about $30 or $32. Next, we have the Mega Rayquaza. Bouncing back a little bit also. This card went crazy. This thing got way more expensive than anybody thought. It got up to $64. And now last sold 45, 36, 32. Tons of lightly playeds, but most of the near mints are, $30 to $35, and it got down to about $25. Next, we have the Gold Star Umbreon. Another card I think people are sleeping on. I feel like people don't realize the original of this card is like a $10,000 card. Like, it's so expensive, it's just crazy. So this was at $70, dropped down to $59. Now last sold $65, $70, $66, $73, $75. Next, we have the big boy, the Charizard from Celebrations. I could see this card getting to $200 by the 30th. So it was at $130, dropped down to about $110. Now last sold $135, $135, $165, $125, $140. And last on the list, we have the Lance's Charizard V. The Dark Sylveon is also up like $1, but nothing crazy. This got down to $5. It did get up to $19 before, and now last sold $879, $771, $550. Now these are actually some of my favorite cards in Celebrations, even though this is just a basic V. But if you think about it, for Celebrations, we did not get a lot of original arts, to where most of our original arts are the promos, you know, like the Delta Species card and like the Prime card, and like this is the Lance's Charizard, you know, kind of like a Gym Heroes throwback. I just wish they would have gave them, you know, a little bit better card than just a basic V's, something with some texture, but it's still such a cool card. But all right, that was today's video. If you guys want to stay ahead of the market and you guys enjoy this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. And like I mentioned before, if you guys could do me a massive favor and go watch my newest vending video, you know, give it a like, give it some high points, leave a comment. It would really, really mean a ton. We're also doing a giveaway in that video for a Bulbasaur stamped promo from the new Mega Evolution booster box. Then, of course, if you guys want to support more, you guys can check out my Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook. I've been going hard on all those with a bunch of good reels and stuff, especially from vending. And then, of course, YouTube membership, PSA link, binder bound merch. You guys know what to do. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you guys want to watch my last vending video, click it right here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.